Literally watch all the stitches to this video, but this story that I'm about to tell today, even though it happened years ago, still gives me chills, and I feel like it has a lot to do with why I quit my job. So I used to work in long-term care, for those of you that don't know, pretty much a nursing home. I was a certified nursing assistant out of high school. This was my first big girl job, okay? So when I first started, I didn't know a lot about the different types of shifts, but there's pretty much 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. I worked the 7 to 3, which was 7 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As time went on, I slowly started to transition to 3 to 11 to work around my college courses. But every now and then I would pick up an 11 to 7 shift. It didn't take long before I started working there where people were telling me about this one particular resident that had an issue with people of a certain color coming into his room. I didn't have too much interaction with this resident because, like I said, I only worked 7 to 3, and you didn't have to do a lot for him. Just go in and check on him and make sure he was okay. Bring him his food tray. Every now and then he might ask you for help to go to the bathroom, but that was about it. I had heard that this resident could get kind of nasty sometimes. I also heard that he had dementia, so he was like seeing stuff. And I also remember going in his room a couple times and seeing all of the mirrors in his room covered up. This is gonna come back later. So on my first 11 to 7, we'll call this nurse Patty. Patty pulled me aside and she was like, hey, this is the list of people, pretty much doing a report for when I first, clocked in, starting my shift. She told me who I had, who was total assist, which I had to do everything for, and who I could pretty much, let. So I noticed that this list had this certain patient's number on it, this certain resident's number on it. His room number was on there. But instead of it saying, just limited assistance or whatever, it was like total assist. So I asked, I'm like, I know I have him during the day and I just go in and check on him and make sure he's okay. If he rings a call light, I'll go in. But other than that, that's about it. When did he become a total assist? So she proceeds to tell me that the night before, he got so scared and so frantic and thought something was in his room that he jumped out of his bed and fell on the floor and did something to his hip. So at this point, currently, he's a total assist, meaning I have to go in, I have to check on him, I have to do everything for him. I said, cool, no problem. I start doing my rounds. I start checking on my people, passing out ice water, changing people, as I normally do. Literally not even 15 minutes into my shift, his call light is on. I go in, I make sure everything's okay. As soon as I get in, I kid you not, this man is literally in the fetal position. I walk up to him and I ask him if everything's okay. Obviously, when I walk up to him, I'm very careful because, like I stated before, he did not like people of my color coming into his room. During the day, he would make a big deal out of this. Like, if he could get a nurse or a nursing assistant of a different color, he definitely would. He did not pay that any mind. He literally jumped straight into, they're in here, they're after me, please help me. I'm looking like, who is they? He's like, you don't see that little boy behind you? No, I can't say that I do, sir.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. Today I'm here with a bunch of nursing home CNA nurse story time. I hope you're ready. Leave a light on because these stories do get kind of creepy. And as someone who used to work in a nursing home, I can tell you a lot of these stories, if not all of them, are very true because the people who are telling the stories, you can tell that they didn't make this up, right? Because as someone who used to work in nursing homes, memory cares, assisted livings, and all that stuff, you see so much stuff because the residents move in and they stay there. Depending on where you work, they call them residents, customers, patients, whatever it is. But the residents move in, and a lot of them die there. And not just a lot, but majority of the residents who move there, unless they were sent to the hospital and they die at the hospital, they die there. So a lot of the stories, a lot of the terminologies that the ladies and gentlemen are using, I can tell is true because I know those terminologies. So basically everything that they're saying.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first.
So I guess TikTok doesn't want to hear my scary story, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. I can't stitch the other video. I'm going to try to figure out how to stitch it, but anyway. One last time, I've tried to record this thing 5 times and I'm at work. So my scary story is I worked at a nursing home that was a Catholic nursing home. And I always worked 2nd floor, 3rd shift. With my nurse, her name was Vanessa. For the story, that's her name. This particular night, I come in, they're like, you and Vanessa are working on the 3rd floor. So I'm like, cool, no problem, whatever. So we go upstairs, we're working, da-da-da-da. I say, hey, Nessa, I'm finna take a break. I'm going downstairs. Now, I take the back stairs because it's quicker than the elevator. It takes you right downstairs to the front lobby. Vending machines is right there. Boom. Plus, I need to exercise. This particular night, I take the back stairs from the 3rd floor, thinking nothing of it. I get somewhere that's not the 1st floor lobby where the vending machines are. It is a room, it looks like. So I'm standing on the stairs. Everything in front of me is black. This black. I look to the left, black. I look to the right, black. Only thing different was there was a light, a door, and the window had a light like from the outside, and above it had an exit sign, red exit sign. So I'm like, so boom, if I jump down off these stairs and dart to that door, yeah, girl, I'll be somewhere, but I won't be here. Because mind you, the only light behind me was the light from the stairwell. The moment I decided I was going to step down, it was like the room got heavy. Some overwhelming, not nice, not happy, unpleasant feeling came over me. And again, I can't see nothing in front of me. I can't see nothing. All my brain said was, bitch, run. I flew up them stairs so goddamn fast. I get back to the 3rd floor. I'm hollering, Vanessa, Vanessa, Vanessa. She's like, what, Cam, what? So she's there with another nurse. We're going to call him Kevin. And Kevin is there, and I'm telling him, and I'm all out of breath. I'm like, what's behind me? Something was chasing me up the stairs, da-da-da-da-da. They're like, well, calm down, Cam, calm down. So Kevin was like, oh, you were down in the convent. Now, I had worked at this place for like 8, 9, 10 months. Ain't never known the convent to be in the building. I went to work and I left. I didn't care about everything else. I figured that the nun convent was somewhere else, and then when they got old and decrepit, they came to the nursing home. But whatever, you know. Yeah, and Kevin, he got to telling us some really strange things about that convent and then that nursing home and them nuns and things around there. And I just was like, but he was like, I'm not surprised that there's a presence. And yeah. And maybe when I came down there, I walked up on something that I wasn't supposed to walk up on, but I couldn't see shit. But nonetheless, yeah, that was my that's my scary story. And to this day, I don't work 3rd shift no more. I don't give a damn. Nope. Give a fuck how much you're paying. It's a no. And that nursing home is closed. I'm not sure if they tore it down, but yeah, that land, they gonna have to do some, I don't know what they gonna build over there, but I won't be going.
Remember how I told you about the other nursing home I worked at that used to be scary? Well, this might be a long story. So, complete backstory. I grew up on a reservation in South Dakota. And I lived across the street from this nursing home that had a daycare. And I went there from a kid. And then I worked there in high school. And I was a CNA there when I was in college. And when I was a kid, the basement was where they kept the babies. And me and my brother and all the other kids who would come early would be in the basement in the morning until the other daycare workers would come in at 8 in the morning, probably earlier than that, but we were always the first ones there. And we would be in this room that would be right next door to a staircase at the end of this big area. It's a scary area, but all it was 2 or 3 rooms, and then a little dinette area where we all ate, and then a big area where we all played at. And then there was a bathroom and a staircase in the back that led to where the playground was for the kids. And in the mornings, we would be in that last room that would be right next to the bathroom and the staircase. It really wasn't scary when the lights were on and the daycare workers were there. But when we were there early in the morning, me and my brother, the worker there, she would let us go into that room. She'd give us blankets, she'd give us something to snack on, and she'd put in whatever we wanted to watch. But when she would walk away, my brother was a baby, newborn, and he was in the first room, and she'd be in there taking care of him, trying to like settle him down and getting ready for breakfast for all the other kids who were going to come. And the lights would be off because she'd want us to go back to sleep, basically, because we don't go to school for a couple more hours. But I would always be too scared to go back to sleep just because it felt so scary by the door where the staircase was. It always felt like someone was going to come snatch you up and take you away. Basically, that was the scariest feeling I got from it. I never saw anything. I just always had that feeling when I was there, and I didn't like being alone down there, especially when it was dark. And then sometime later, I stopped going to daycare when I'm 10 because I just couldn't take it no more. It was just too wild for me. And we lived across the street, and I just told my mom, I was like, I'll get up every morning. I'll get myself ready. I'll go to school. Just don't let me go there. And that's why there's going to have to be a part 2. Because it gets even wilder as I get into middle school. So stay tuned for part 2. I'll have it up like soon.
So a few years ago, I worked in this nursing home. I worked on a dementia floor, so things were pretty chaotic to begin with. If you've ever worked with dementia patients, you know what I'm talking about. This one particular day, I was working overnight, and when I arrived, I was going to each of my patients' rooms to read their report from the day. This one patient I had, she was completely bedridden. You had to lift her. She's pretty small though, so I could always do it myself. So when I got to her room, she's laying on the floor beside her bed. And my first thought is like, oh my God, she fell out of bed. So I went over to her and I was like, Miss Blank, like, are you okay? Like, what happened? Did you fall? And she said, oh no, honey, the man put me here. So I thought that she meant the male nurse that was there that day. So I went out to the nurse's station and I was like, why did you put her on the floor? Kind of weird. It's a little strange. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I told him, I was like, she said that a man put her on the floor. You are the only man here. And he's like, I did not put anybody on the floor. So I went back into her room, and again, she was a very tiny lady. I was able to get her up and into her bed by myself, and I finished doing what I needed to do and left the room. A few hours went by, like around midnight, I was doing my rounds again just to check on everybody, and I heard her talking in her room. It's not like uncommon for dementia patients to be like talking to themselves, you know, but I stopped by her door to listen to what she was saying, and I heard her say, no, I can't get out of bed again, they'll get mad. Immediately, just chills everywhere. So then I went around the corner to look into her room, and she is like hovering above her bed, like this much. And as soon as it's only for like 2 seconds, and as soon as I look at her, she drops down to the bed. And needless to say, that was my last shift at that nursing home. I literally never returned. And I have a lot more stories about that nursing home. That was just like the last straw, what made me quit. But if you want to hear more about what happened there, let me know.
You cannot tell me that nursing homes are not haunted. If you've ever worked in one, you know what I'm talking about. One of the nursing homes I worked at was not a good place. It was not a good environment to be in. And so I think a lot of the people who had passed away there were disgruntled on the other side. So all night long, sometimes if it was a full moon or if it was storming outside, you could hear them. You could hear them walking down the hall. Sometimes they would bang on the wall. Sometimes things would just fall over for no reason. And we were really used to it at that point. Another time, a lady had her covers up over her, and I said, are you okay? What's going on? And she was like, my husband's in the bed with me. Well, he had passed away years ago. And I said, well, what is he doing in the bed with you? And she was like, he came to get me. He's taking me home. And I said, okay. And sure enough, the next morning, she was gone. And then there was a time that there was a guy who was like all the way at the end of the hall, and he stayed in his bed most of the time. Whenever we got him up, we had to have assistance getting him out of the bed. He never wanted to move out of his bed. Well, this particular night, he kept ringing his call light. And when I finally got down there, he had gotten himself out of the bed and was in his wheelchair and was trying to wheel himself out of the room. So I said, what is going on? And he said, that lady won't stop coming in here and I don't want her in here. And I said, what lady? And he was like, the one over there in the corner. And I looked and of course didn't see anyone. And so I said, well, who is it? And he said, you know, the broad from across the hall. Well, the lady across the hall had been on hospice care for a couple of weeks, and we had been checking on her like every hour on the hour. So I was like, can't be her. But sure enough, my coworker and I walked in there to check on her. She had gone on to glory. And I guess she must have wanted to say goodbye to him before she left.
Okay, I have a ghost story to tell you. I'm in a new hospital and I was walking around and it's empty and it's kind of creepy, and I heard some noises and I started thinking about all the different like ghost stories that I have from, you know, years of working in ICU. But the creepiest story that I have, sorry about that noise, it's loud but I can't turn it off. The creepiest story that I have. So I worked in a hospital that the unit that I worked on had never been anything but a cardiovascular ICU, or cardiothoracic. It was hearts and lungs, and heart transplants, total artificial heart, lung transplants, anything cardiac related. So on this floor, there was a patient that we had one time. There was a particular room that kind of gave you the heebie-jeebies when you walked past it. And we had a patient in that room that he was not a nice human. He was somebody that I had actually known like outside of the hospital, so I never took care of him because it was a conflict of interest. But one night he was confused, so he was just saying kind of mean, hateful things. But one of the things that he kept saying is he kept using a racial slur, the N-word, and he kept saying, "Get that little racial slur out of here. He's playing in here. Get him out of here. I don't want that little racial slur in my room." And everybody, like, this man, I didn't like him outside of, you know, the hospital and as a patient, and was confused, and it was not good. But anyway, he ended up leaving that room, got better, left. And then when you're in the hospital, you can get confused, and it's very normal for you to hallucinate. You have medications on board, like, you know, that's just kind of a normal thing. It just kind of, sometimes your true colors show up whenever you are on medications. You know, I've had women punch me that, you know, their family members say like, "Oh, they're so sweet and kind," but then they get on, you know, medications, and then they are, you know, hitting and kicking. And anyway, anesthesia can do that to you, as well as medications, and, you know, even your sodium gets off. You know, there's all sorts of things that can influence you. So we didn't think much of it. I think it was like 2 days later, not just a couple days later, we had the sweetest little old lady in that room, and I did take care of her. She was adorable. I swear she was, I can't remember, she was in her late 80s, but she was so sweet and so cute, poor lady. But she was not confused, and she kept telling me, she was like, "Can you get my purse for me? Give me my purse. I really need my purse. It's over there." And I was like, what do you need your purse for? And a lot of times we don't give patients their belongings, because there might be extra pills in there and we got to know what they're taking. So I said, "Well, let me help you go through your purse, and, you know, what is it that you want out of there?" She says, "I have some candy in there. I really want to get some candy for that little boy. He keeps coming in here and playing, and I have some candy that I'd like to give him." And I said, "Wait, there's no little boy? And she says, "Yes, there's a little black boy. He keeps playing over there in the drawers, and he's looking for some food, but I have some candy, and I'd like to give it to him." This unit had never been a pediatric unit. There was never children. There wasn't any children on the unit, and nobody was visiting, especially no children. It's pretty creepy.
Mama, do you have another spooky story?
See, you want me to talk about mess that scared me. That's what you want me to talk about some mess that scared me, girl, please. Look, I was a nurse working, I thought I was good at what I do. I love my patients. I take care of people. I was the bomb nurse. So when people died in my facility, I would go to the room and be a support for the family and talk to them and have my staff, if the family came and want to sit with the body till an undertaker come, I would have them serve coffee or soda or water, whatever they wanted, and they could sit in the room. I would have my staff clean them up. They'd be laying up there just looking all good and greasy and everything there. And I had this man, and whenever anybody died, and you had to have one or two things to pronounce him dead, the LVN could say, he's dead, go get our director. And I was by law the one that would have the privilege of clocking that this person died at this particular time. So I had people that I was about to pronounce dead, and they would do different things, but because I had this woman whose respiration went down to 8, so you had to wait a long pause for that next one came. So within a minute, she had 8 heartbeats. So this particular man passed in my home. So I go down, they call me, and I come down, and I have the regal position or attitude and posture of a grand nurse coming to be with this family in their hour of bereavement. And so I go in the room, and there's one lady in there, and she says, is he? I said, yes. I said, but let me check him. I checked his neck for a pulse. I checked his wrist for a pulse. I checked his ankles for a pulse. I listened to his stomach. I listened to his chest. And I assured her, he is DEAD. She said, okay. So she gets up and comes out. I said, where was his wife? I said, his wife was in here. I said, did she go to the cafeteria to get something? She said, no, they ran up to the store. She'd be right back. I said, okay. So when I come out the room, I told my staff, I said, go in and get him ready, get him cleaned up, and kind of prop him up until, his wife will be back. So after I did that, I started to the front to take care of something else. And his wife was coming in with another lady. And I stopped her because I didn't want her to walk in there without knowing. And I said, oh, honey, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I thought you were still here. I said, but your husband has passed. And she looked at me with a level of eye contact. Honey, you do not know what you're talking about. And I said to myself, girl, he did. Okay? And so we go in the room. On the way to the room, she says, let me tell you something. I don't care what you say. He is not leaving here unless he see me. So, of course, I rolled my eyes up into the ceiling and said to myself, I just get so tired of these people being unrealistic. This is going through my mind. The man is dead, but I'm going to go in here and let her play her little game with him. Sure as I'm sitting here, we go in the room, and she shook it, and he didn't move. And she called his name. And when she called his name, he opened his eyes. He looked at her, and he smiled, and went, I said, I'm through with this. I can't sleep for 2 days, because I don't know what happened. The first night I was second guessing myself. I know he was dead. I know this man was dead. But he opened his eyes, looked at her and smiled and went, okay, I'm not ready for this. I am not prepared. So that's one thing. See, people don't understand when things wouldn't happen. Nurses see things that you wouldn't even imagine. Okay. I have had people die where the walls rattled. I had, this was not scary to me because I knew something was not, no, I can't say not right with it, was with this little boy. And he loved me and I loved him. He had cancer. He was in those little airplane kits, and he was working on this airplane, and he was like, I'm doing this for my dad, I'm doing this for my dad. And so sometimes it was time for him to go eat, he wouldn't go because he wanted to. So I would go and get his food, and I would take him in his room, and I said, you gotta let me know because you're not supposed to be eating in your room, so I can come get this tray. So I let him eat in his room because he was still working on that airplane. Well, he had a star tumor in the top of his head, and that tumor grows like a star inside the tissue. It's not raised. A lot of tumors are raised, and then they might grow into the tissue, or they may grow out from the tissue and grow up to be raised like a bulb or something. But this one was just flat. So when you look at it, they were going to try to scoop it out. They were going to try to scoop that tumor out of his head. And I was so distraught about it. And so I would go in this room and I would say, baby, what do you want? What do you need? Because he was going to have a mid-morning surgery. He said, nothing, Mary, nothing. I got to finish this airplane for my daddy. Well, what they would do is call down and say, we're ready for patients, because they go in an order and they call you and you take them up. He's number 6, we take them up, right? So I went in the room, I said, it's time for you to go, baby. You're going to have to put that down. He said, I'm not going nowhere till I finish this airplane. I'm like, oh, yes. I said, but you got to go because it's your time. He said, I'm not going. He said, because I'm not coming back. I said, what do you mean you're not coming back? I am not coming back. And he said, I want my daddy to have this. So I called surgery and I told him, I said, he's refusing to leave. He says, because he's not wanting to leave. He's trying to finish his airplane for his dad. So the doctor gets on the phone, he started hollering and screaming at me. I said, hold on. I can't make him come. If you think you can make him come, you come down here and you get it. Because see, I can't hear you hollering and screaming at me because I will hurt you. So he was like, I said, so you need to calm yourself down. This baby said he's not going. And this nurse says she's not going to make it. So if you want to make him, you come down here and do it. And he said he's not going anywhere until he finishes his airplane because he is not coming back. And when I said that, the doctor said, oh my God, you didn't tell me that. Yes, you didn't tell me that. They took it, finally he went like 2 o'clock. He's supposed to be up there 11, but he finally went at 2 o'clock. And went it beautiful, big pretty eyes. And he had great big, just great big pretty eyes, and his hair was just beautiful. He was just pretty. I mean, just a beautiful kid. And I'm looking at him and tears is going down my face because see, now I feel him. He's not coming back. So I prayed over his bed because I just couldn't stand it. And when he died in surgery on that table. That room rattled. Mm-hmm. That room rattled. So then you know I don't work there no more. Telling you right now, I don't work there no more. Because the worst thing to see is a child dying or dead. Mm-hmm. I had to go. Well, that was just something I have 1,001 stories.
Hey guys, I'm Jenny and this is Shameless Plug. So I want to tell you guys about my Crown of Success manifestation book with easy, simple rituals and spells to manifest a life of abundance in your life. And those spells are so easy, even a child can do it. So this book is filled with different spells that I've learned over the years from my family, passed down from grandma and everything. And also those are spells that I've actually tried and I know that they work. So this book not only teaches you step by step on the things that you can do that are so easy that a child can do it, but it tells you like the proper moon phase to use, alchemy, manifesting with numbers, numerology, and also the days of the week that best fit for this particular spell. So it tells you the timing of when to practice the spell, the days of the week, the moon phase. It shows you all the colors of the candles that you should be using and different planets. So for example, I show you like planet Jupiter is for Thursdays and the hours of the days that you should be doing the spell. So this is an easy road opener spell. So I know a lot of people like to do like different spell work, but if your roads are blocked of course your spells are not going to work. So it's good to unblock yourself first and then start using the spell, especially with the new years and the new days to come. And also I have some amazing spells in here. This is a powerful quick money spell, so if you end up buying for some money and you're just trying to get some money. And I even have some easy powerful spell to win game of chance. So if you are a gambler, now I don't promote gambling, but if you are a gambler and you're just trying to make some money and trying to make sure you win, these spells will definitely help you. It tells you the best days to do it. So it says the best days to perform this spell is on a Thursday, Jupiter day. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, luck, and expansion. Jupiter is the best day to perform spells that boost luck and increase your chance of success in any game of chance or any money spell, period. It has a list of so many spells that you can incorporate in your life with this new year to bring prosperity. And I even put some bonus spells on here, which for Saturday is a day to do like protection work. So I have a spell for like send back to senders. So I put some bonus spells on here, and then a protection with Archangel Michael. So there's so many spells on here. Removing the evil eye spell, so you can remove evil eye in your money and also in your everyday life. New Year home blessing spell, and I know it's been a few days since the new year started, but you can always do a home blessing spell any days of the week. As long as you need it, you could do it. So anyways, guys, this is my book. It's called Crown of Success by Jenny, and it's available on Amazon, the ebook and also the physical copying. So please grab a copy if you're interested in supporting this channel. This is a way to support the channel and to support me as well for putting out, you know, content every day for you guys to enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book, and I hope you go and grab your copy, whether it's the ebook or the physical copy. I say have a physical copy, but it's really up to how much, you know, your wallet and what you can afford. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Mwah. This is a shameless plug, so just check out my channel, okay? Love you guys. Mwah.